A wedding marriage introduction. A wedding marriage introduction. In the following several volumes, I cover things like proposing, the engagement, premarital programs, bridal showers and bachelor parties, how to conduct the wedding, the reception afterwards, where to go for the honeymoon, marriage from a legal point of view plus cohabitation without marriage, name change, etc. Daily married life. How to be a good, romantic spouse. It's mostly about getting from the proposal to the wedding, the honeymoon, then settling into married life. The wedding is one day, marriage is for life. Women are generally gung-ho about planning the perfect fairy tale type wedding, the only day they will be a princess in their lives, but they neglect to plan the marriage which is for life. Most weddings have nothing to do with marriage. They're overrated cultural brainwash where people waste a lot of money to try to capture a special feeling which doesn't exist because the magic should be there between the couple regardless of the wedding. Weddings are symbols of wealth and social status. I was an altar boy who lived across the street from the church, so I served at a lot of weddings. The wedding and the reception are a show by rich people who want to show off. I served at simple weddings where the bride didn't even have a special wedding gown. She did it with a nice dress that you could wear to work. There are elopements and civil weddings where you get the wedding license from the county government office, then hire a minister, wedding officiant, out of the phone book or online to pronounce you married for as low as $50. For conventional weddings, it's partially the girl's attempt to be a fairy princess for a day, extreme over romantic sentimentality, a status symbol to show how much money the family has, an excuse to party, a time to have fun, a chance to show off, a family reunion, excess to the hilt, and an incredible waste of money. The greatest way to understand weddings is that there are about 100 magazines for brides and, as far as I know, 1 or 2 for grooms. Men don't care about weddings. Women are brainwashed into thinking it's the most special day of their lives, when the truth is that it's just a formality after the love, and you shouldn't devote too much effort into creating a special atmosphere because you either already got it as you two alone or you don't, and the size of the wedding doesn't really matter much. Aside from the premarital programs, a lot of people who have been married say it's wise to sit down together and go through a set of compatibility questions as listed elsewhere in this book. Virtually all marriages start off with the elation of the wedding announcement, followed usually by a long wedding process which turns out to be more drawn out than it is joyful on that particular day, because you can't create a special mood by spending a lot of money. You either got love already inside or you don't. The wedding is an afterthought to true love. Cultural brainwash about how it's supposed to be a woman's special day when she gets to be a princess, but it's really just you two and how you feel about each other alone, away from the world. Sure, you proclaim your love to the world and get to bring together 2 families plus all your collective friends in this celebration of joy, but it's all show. It should just be a minor party next to the love you already feel between you two as a couple. If you want to be a loving person, it has to become a major part of your life. You have to constantly express it. This is how you get that deep soulmate relationship that lasts a lifetime. The most loving people as a group are Christian people. Some, not all, try to embrace the unconditional love idea that Jesus had. Romantic love at the start, aka infatuation or being smitten, is a biological spray of hormones. Great lovers stay on with a commitment after the hormones die down. Chapter 1. A wedding marriage discussion. Nobody ever told me the truth about love. They say that by the time you hit 18, you've watched 10,000 love movies and TV shows, not to mention that almost every song is about love. My first discovery on my own was that it was easy to fall in love, then after several months, I always fell out of love. I realized that the natural love hormones P and oxytocin die down. Then you have a dilemma. Do you really love this girl and make a commitment to stay, or are you a slave to your hormones and moving on to the next new girl that you're attracted to? Love might be something inside of you that you feel, but so what? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Everybody has got the best intentions in their minds. All that matters is action, what you do. Love has to be fed all the time if you want it. Human beings are not mind readers. They want to be reminded that you love them all the time through what you do. A human won't give you a foot bump. It's a given that your lover wants love and attention. If you don't do it, why did you bother getting into a relationship in the first place? I can watch any dating show on TV and see the delusions young people have about romantic love as this mystical force that is going to propel them into a higher state of consciousness for life, but it won't. Every man is a sex-crazed slut in the privacy of his mind by virtue of the hormone testosterone, which is the sex hormone for both men and women. It makes us horny. Men have more than women. Somebody constructed the idea of marriage and family to control us and help grow the tribe by having an emotional interest in children. In truth, men are more like Vikings than kindly lovers. A man wants sex and doesn't care about emotional empathy towards the woman. We say we're civilized, but sex is a wild, primal act. It's hard to be nice to somebody all the time. It's hard to talk to anybody every day. People get tired of people. Everybody ages and looks uglier than they did as fresh, young people. Society, meaning governments, want to control people. We must fill them up with ideas of marriage and family in order to control them and make money off them. Monogamy as a way of life is an artificial way of being thrust onto us. If we want loving marriages, we have to accept this fact but get past it by working on being loving all the time in our relationships. I realized 4 main things about intimate love. Strong, passionate love. At first, love exists sometimes when two people meet who are primally attracted to each other, but it's physiological hormones. Hormones always go down, so the passion does too. When it happens, you have to decide whether you're going to stay in the relationship or follow your instincts. Most relationships are not high-intensity passion. They're lukewarm love. People stay together for many reasons other than love, like fear of being alone, social insecurity, financial help, etc. Everybody is alone by design. We're all loners. Most of us watch thousands of love TV shows and movies which constantly give us unrealistic views of love, making us think that it will fill some hole of existential emptiness within ourselves. You alone either deal with your sense of individual identity or not. Romantic love can't fill the search for purpose and worth within ourselves. You make love a major part of your life. Life becomes a conscious journey to love and be loved. It's easy. Give love to get it back. Romance is basically two people spending time together just for the sake of being together. It doesn't require anything fancy or over the top. Great lovers do this day after day with their partners. It's not something you do once or 2 a year on Valentine's Day and on your wedding anniversary as an obligatory thing. It's doing the things together that close friends do. If a man can't be romantic right from the start, he has missed his chance. He might be a good provider, but he won't walk off into the land of enchantment with his mate. Most of us are bumbling fools when it comes to romance because we're afraid of opening up and telling someone we love them with passion and abandon. We're afraid of being rebuffed and rejected. People in general aren't used to being swept away in a romantic haze, so they aren't ready for it if it happens. If you pour out your love in some way and your lover doesn't go with it, it's awkward, unequal participation in the moment. The guy gives it his all and the girl doesn't go with the spirit of it, so the guy does this a few times then shuts it off. You have to find the right person that you can be corny and hokey with without feeling uncomfortable about it. Romance is always keeping it fresh, doing little things for each other. Romance doesn't start 10 minutes before you hit the sack. It's an all-day process. You have to develop the intimate connection all the time in order to be a true romantic. Treat each other how you should be treated. Share yourselves with each other. Move from me to we. Give your love together the honor it deserves. Love is great if you can find it with one person and stick with them for life. Some people do. There are pictures on the local news about couples married 50 years or longer. There will always be lean times in amongst the great times. You have to stop, think about your relationship and focus on being kind, loving and doing nice things for your lover, over and over again. You have love inside of you. You give it away. With a pet, love is unconditional. With people, it's like you always to prove yourself, like the song "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" That's the problem, finding a wonderful person who will love you for you no matter what. I know that most of the couples I see anywhere don't really love each other all that much. They're together for lots of reasons besides love, like the fear of being alone. Few human beings give of themselves to another as a dog gives of itself. The Old Testament of the Bible says we're a bunch of evil pricks. I realize existential loneliness is a part of being a human being. You always live alone in your head. If you want someone to match your spirit, conversation, and all that, it's hard. Look at how moody we are. Add your desire for sex on top of that, especially as you age, and whoever you're with ages and gets uglier. I read a story about a girl who had a wedding day set with one guy, but she was leaning towards another guy. The father said, "We can cancel the wedding and instead of the reception we'll make it a Christmas party." She married the guy who was doing domestic violence since before the wedding, but she married him anyway. I think marriage is generic life. You try something, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, don't stay. Get out, try something else. Chapter 2. Issues to consider before marriage. The wedding vs. the marriage. I, as a man, don't like weddings, and I assume that most girls like them because they've been so brainwashed too. As a guy, the wedding shouldn't matter to you all that much, so leave it to the chicks. Let them have their fun on that one particular day. Whatever you do, don't lose the spirit of it, like the several couples I've seen on TV court shows who sued someone because they felt they didn't get proper service on their wedding day. Get over it. Forget about it after the day. If you start off the tone of your wedding that trivial, I shudder to think where you will be in 5 years. You miss the whole point of the spiritual connection between the two of you, not the material enhancements that surround it. The major predictor that a marriage will last is if each of the people have the same life script, share the same vision for the future, which is why similar pasts is so important. You usually want to replicate the childhood you had, so it's best if you find someone from the same socio-economic and spiritual background who wants the same things you want out of life. As an exercise, you should each write up a life vision where you write out what you want as an individual and what you want as a couple in the next 5, 10 years and life in general, then compare them and talk about them. The closer you are, the more compatible you will be. You have to agree on such things as children, sexual frequency, ambition vs. a free easygoing life, interest in material things, interest in status, size of house and economic standard of living. These few things are the most important things. If you're not on the same page, it could be in trouble right from the start. Married life has very little to do with the glitter of the pretty white dress on wedding day. Imprint that in your heart and on your wallet. That's the golden rule. Don't take it all so hard. Most people really aren't ready to get married when they do, but this is the spirit of some cultures like the Hindu culture who have arranged marriages. They say get married now, get to know each other and fall in love later. Focus more on the relationship day to day than the grandeur of the wedding. The wedding doesn't matter, the love does. Marriage by culture. A syndrome of marriage by culture came to me while watching a documentary dating/love show on TV. We're so all drilled into marriage and family that most of us blindly seek it out very quickly after our 23rd birthdays, often not really knowing why, except that it's the cultural push and not understanding within ourselves if that's what we really want, if it's really inherent within our souls as individuals. Most men and women alike often assume that they should be married and having kids by 28 without much actual thought of the process itself, how tough it really is, and if it's really a good path for them at such a young age. I noticed this trend because I saw all these guys and girls talk about how desperate they were looking for someone to love, but most of them seemed to be doing it blindly, seeming to seek it out because it was their cultural role expected of them. They looked like a bunch of naive people who didn't seem to have a firm grip of themselves as individuals. They didn't seem interested in exploring their lives as singles or exploring alternative lifestyles sexually, they were all just hooked on this one woman one man monogamy kick. So my point is, think before you marry to see if you're just getting married because it's expected of you by society, or is that what you really want. The one cast iron golden rule I noticed is that everybody was looking for a dynamo bombshell king/queen while being average people themselves, and when they went out on dates with perfectly fine ordinary people like themselves, they discounted them all, saying there were flaws to them, so they all stayed single waiting for that illusory, whammo Prince Charming or Snow White. For what it's worth, these are the characteristics these people on the show said they wanted. Emotionally receptive. Soul of an artist. Loving. Attractive. Has a job. Has money. No kids. Wants serious relationship. Macho but not too macho. Feminine but not too frivolous or phony bubbly. Tall enough. Mentally stable. Encouraging. Common sense. Marriage too young. Even though our cultures push us to get married generally under 25, I believe this is a throwback to the old days when they got married at about 12 to 17 years old because they knew their lifespans were only 40 or so years, so they had to have kids young to both be around to raise them and use them to help out with the work, but these days it's not necessary. Maybe girls feel they should marry young because of the cultural stigma, but at least guys should have sense enough to wait a while for several reasons: explore life, sow their wild oats, save some money, get some career status, acquire a base of material goods, and be ready for the emotional and physical demands of sharing their lives and providing for a family, assuming, as the traditional roles say, that the man is the symbolic head and breadwinner of the family. Teenagers and a lot of young people in general have a dreamy, starry-eyed view of marriage. They don't understand the reality of it, of sharing your life with someone, nor the logistics of running a household, paying the bills, especially if you have kids like most young couples do. People at this age generally want to get out of their parents' home and mistakenly think that marriage is a simple solution, but it's considerably tougher than that. Even if you get married, you should consider waiting a few years before you have children, because once you have them, your life will change immeasurably. Of course, there are exceptions to this view of marriage too young, but generally far and few between. Most young people are just not emotionally nor financially prepared to handle it well. Generally, the younger you marry, the higher the likelihood of divorce. A lot of people marry because a child is on the way, but this is the wrong reason. You either marry for love or don't do it unless you want heartache and a divorce. If you're young and want to avoid this mistake, use birth control, and if you're a guy, use condoms. Abortion is not the answer because it leaves a negative stigma of self-guilt that often lasts a lifetime. There are enough contraceptive devices on the market such that there's no reason to have kids if you don't want them, unless you're one of those stupid trailer trash people who have no ability to take care of even the basics in their lives. For young people in general, they think marriage is a solution to all their problems but don't realize marriage is just a piece of paper. If you don't have control over your life as a unit and as a couple, marriage won't help you out. It could make it worse because now you're stuck with someone and responsible for them somehow. Trying to make ends meet and trying to share your life with somebody is a lot of responsibility. Because you're young and not mature, maturity only comes with living life and analyzing it, experience in the real world. You don't have a base of who you are as a human being, so your emotions are all over the place. You will get bored of seeing each other day after day, especially at that age, and sooner or later, your frustrations will lead to anger and animosity. Domestic violence is rampant among young people. Wait until you live out some of the angst inside before you commit to a monogamous relationship for life. Young people, raised on TV which blasts frivolous shows about how easygoing and charming life is, don't know how tough it is in the real world. People generally don't like to hire people under 25 because of unreliability and immaturity. It's hard to get a mortgage or even a rental unit sometimes, money's always tight, car insurance costs more, and to top of it off, you still got your youthful carefree desires that don't want any of this responsibility. When you're young, you're often hanging with like-minded friends who all do what they want, but when you marry, all of a sudden your loyalties shift to one person and your friends won't come around much anymore because it's different demographics. They're free and wanna have fun while you're stuck at home raising a kid, cooking supper for your husband when he gets home from work. You can't have both and still be responsible. You either have one or the other. If you grow up too young via marriage, you will always have regrets and hidden animosity for your spouse who you might later blame and use that as a crutch to get a divorce, poetically known as midlife crisis or sowing your wild oats. As a young person, you don't know yourself, much less somebody else. Life is hard enough to figure out as a single, much less have somebody around you're supposed to love who will get on your nerves at some point in time. So my point is, learn to understand yourself, then you will be ready to learn how to share your life rather than just go in blind and let the chips fall where they may, because haphazard marriages between two young immature people who don't know what's going on, living in some delusion, rarely last. Young people don't really understand sex. The guy wants it, the girl feels obligated, and if she gets pregnant, she's got that to worry about while the guy keeps wanting sex. After she has the baby, she doesn't want sex that much while he still has his need. A lot of young guys don't understand that they should do some of the housework even if they are the breadwinners. Many young people have dreams of going to school, choosing a certain career or living a certain lifestyle, which all must be compromised if you choose the responsibilities of marriage at too young an age. Young people often drink alcohol, party, and do drugs more than others, which is another sign of the excesses and the learning period of youth, which doesn't bide well with marriage. Often parents help out their young married children, but if they help out too much, the kids feel smothered, like they owe their parents something, and the parents exercise a certain control of them. This is bad all around. Sometimes the parents even fight for control of the grandkids if the young couple are not mature parents. Raising kids is the hardest job around, doubly harder if you work a job on top of it, and the pregnancy is tough too because you have to take care of yourself. Be ready for a dull routine every day in the process of raising kids. Young people are generally immature and possessive, so they become jealous if their spouses talk to other people of the opposite sex, have friends of the opposite sex, or simply go out with her friends while leaving him at home. Young girls don't like their husbands even looking at other girls. It's too insecure an age to shoulder all the hassles of being responsibly married. If you work at a place with lots of young opposite-sex people, your spouse will be jealous. Being young in general means you don't have those elusive qualities of maturity, patience, self-assurance, knowing yourself, and acceptance. A lot of young people simply can't stay the course, get bored, frustrated, and bail very quickly after the initial spray of fireworks dies down. So in the end, my sagacious advice is to do yourself a favor, men and women alike. Wait until you do some free living, learn about yourself, get a reasonable marketable skill, work a few years and save some money before you set off on this path, which is ultimately the biggest decision in your life. Books about marriage too young are at #306.8 and HQ799 at the library. Medical testing before marriage. In some areas, there are mandatory HIV tests before marriage to ensure that one person doesn't marry another without knowing they are HIV positive. I've also seen a voluntary thing that some rich guys have used. They send their future wives to a clinic in the ruse of getting her a medical checkup, but in the process some generic material is swabbed from her, then tested for the predisposition of genetic diseases. This can be done covertly by getting some genetic material from someone, either through a hair follicle, a cigarette butt, some saliva, a skin scraping, a cheek scraping, etc., sending the sample to a mail-order medical testing company who do the analysis for several $100s. Stopping a bad mistake. People get married for all the wrong reasons and then end up getting divorced. The critical fact is that they know beforehand that the marriage is doomed. Many people realize it's a mistake shortly after the engagement, but they just bite their tongues and go through with it, thinking that love will conquer all, or for such mundane reasons as the invitations were already sent out, what will my family think, etc. The critical morale to the story is trust your instincts. If you got swept up in the proposal but then feel in your gut that it's wrong or there's something not exactly right, do not get swept up in the passion of a wedding day only to know that the marriage will never, ever work. Stop it now before you have kids and end up miserable. Don't worry about hurting the other's feelings. If you keep it all in now, you will magnify the hurt 100-fold if you let it keep going on. Do yourself a favor, save yourself a lot of heartache and call it off before it's too late. Give the ring back. If you're in a relationship that's going south, don't expect marriage to rekindle it because it won't. Temporary marriage. I read somewhere that 2 women legislators of the Maryland state government put a proposal out that people should get married via temporary 3-year marriage contracts renewable or rendered void at that time. With the high divorce rate these days, I feel this is valid, or at least have the players agree to a 3-year temporary marriage after which they can either choose to part company or marry permanently in the traditional way. This would save a lot of the heartache of divorces. There wouldn't have to be another ceremony. They would just sign a new marriage contract for life. I know that religions say that marriages are sacred and for life only, so I say have a temporary civil marriage first, and if it works out, you can move on to the church wedding. Who will be the enlightened government that's the first to enact such new liberal policies?